Imagine this. A creature that survived for over 200 million years, older than dinosaurs, unchanged in its essence, built for power, patience, and predation. Today, that same creature is raised like cattle in the humid backwaters of Louisiana, Florida, and Georgia. Behind tall fences and steel gates, millions of American alligators and their close cousins, crocodiles, are born, raised, and harvested every year, not as monsters, but as commodities. Their meat ends up on high-end restaurant plates. Their skin becomes $10,000 handbags, designer boots, luxury watch straps. And this isn't some shadowy underground trade. It's a tightly regulated, billion-dollar U.S. industry operating in plain sight. But how did we get here? And what does it mean to farm one of Earth's most ancient predators? Welcome to the hidden world of American crocodile and alligator farming. So, are you ready for the next section where we dive into the surprising origins of this industry? Believe it or not, crocodile and alligator farming in the U.S. didn't start in some corporate boardroom. It began with crisis and conservation. Back in the 1960s, the American alligator was on the brink. Decades of unregulated hunting for their hides, used in boots, belts, and briefcases, had decimated wild populations. In 1967, they were officially listed as an endangered species. But here's where the story takes a turn. Instead of just banning hunting outright, wildlife officials in Louisiana and Florida tried something radical: regulated farming. The idea: if demand for alligator products couldn't be stopped, maybe it could be redirected. Farmers would collect eggs from the wild, under strict state permits, raise the hatchlings in captivity, and sell the adult skins and meat. In return, they'd protect wild nesting sites because their livelihood depended on them. It worked. By the 1980s, the American alligator had made one of the most remarkable comebacks in conservation history and was officially delisted. Today, over 90% of alligator products in the U.S. come from farmed animals, not wild ones. And while true crocodiles, like the American crocodile, are still protected and rarely farmed at scale, the industry often uses crocodile as a catch-all term in marketing. In practice, it's mostly alligators being raised, especially in the deep south. So what does a modern alligator farm actually look like? Is it rows of cages in a warehouse, or something wilder than you'd expect? Step onto a typical alligator farm in southern Louisiana and you might be surprised. It doesn't look like a factory. It looks almost natural. Most farms mimic the gator's native wetland habitat: shallow ponds surrounded by grassy banks, shaded shelters, and controlled water flow.
Why?
Because stressed alligators mean damaged skin, and damaged skin means lost profits. The process starts each spring during nesting season. Licensed farmers wade into protected wild marshes, carefully collecting eggs from nests marked with GPS coordinates. They take only a portion, leaving enough to sustain the wild population, then incubate them in climate-controlled barns. At just 12 inches long, hatchlings are moved into warm water pens. As they grow, they're sorted by size to prevent cannibalism, a very real risk with these territorial reptiles. By age 2 to 3, they reach harvest size, 4 to 6 feet long. Now, the harvesting itself is tightly regulated. In the U.S., federal and state laws require humane euthanasia, usually a quick, precise pithing method that renders the animal instantly unconscious. It's not pretty, but it's designed to be as swift and stress-free as possible, both for ethical reasons and to preserve meat and hide quality. Within hours, the skin is carefully removed by hand, salted, and shipped to tanneries in Italy, France, or the U.S. The meat, lean, mild, often compared to chicken or veal, is flash frozen and sent to restaurants or specialty grocers. Every single part is used. Nothing goes to waste. But here's the question that lingers: can an industry built on raising apex predators ever truly be sustainable? Or are we just making exploitation look cleaner? At first glance, alligator farming feels rustic, almost old-fashioned. But behind the scenes, this industry is quietly embracing technology in surprising ways. Take incubation, for example. Gone are the days of guessing temperatures. Today's farms use digital climate systems that control not just heat, but humidity and even gas composition. Because believe it or not, the sex of an alligator is determined by incubation temperature. Warmer nests produce males, cooler ones females. By fine-tuning this, farmers can balance their herds for optimal growth and reproduction. Then there's tracking. Many farms now use RFID tags or microchips to log each animal's origin, growth rate, and health history, tying them back to the exact wild nest they came from. This isn't just for efficiency, it's for compliance. Every hide sold internationally needs a CITES certificate, a global wildlife trade permit, and traceability is non-negotiable. Some forward-thinking operations are even experimenting with recirculating aquaculture systems, or RAS, closed-loop water filtration that reduces environmental runoff and disease risk. Others use AI-powered cameras to monitor behavior, spotting signs of stress or illness before it spreads. And perhaps most fascinating Fascinating? Researchers are working on in vitro alligator leather, lab-grown skin that could one day eliminate the need for farming altogether. It's still early, but luxury brands are watching closely. So while the image of the alligator farmer may still be that of a sun-weathered Cajun in a swamp boat, the reality is increasingly high-tech, data-driven, and precise. But that raises another question. With all this control, what's the real environmental cost? Let's be honest, farming apex predators sounds contradictory to conservation. How can raising millions of animals for their skin and meat possibly be good for the environment? But here's the twist. In the US, it might actually be helping. Because the industry depends on healthy wild populations for egg collection, farmers have become some of the strongest advocates for wetland preservation. In Louisiana alone, over 1 million acres of private marshland are actively managed, not just for alligators, but for waterfowl, fish, and native plants. Without the economic incentive from farming, much of that land might have been drained for development or agriculture. That said, it's not perfect. Alligator farms use significant water and energy. Waste runoff, though regulated, can affect local ecosystems if mismanaged. And while wild populations are thriving today, some scientists warn that over-reliance on farming could make us complacent about broader habitat loss. Then there's the ethical question. Is it right to breed sentient, ancient creatures purely for profit? Animal welfare groups argue that even the best farms can't meet an alligator's complex behavioral needs. Farmers counter that their animals live longer, safer lives than in the wild, where starvation, disease, and territorial fights claim most young gators before they reach a year old. So is this a model of conservation capitalism, or just capitalism wearing a conservation mask? What do you think? Drop your take in the comments. We'd love to hear it. In Louisiana, the alligator isn't just an animal, it's part of the identity. For generations, Cajun and indigenous communities have hunted, respected, and lived alongside alligators. Today, that relationship has evolved, but not disappeared. Many small family farms have been passed down for decades, blending tradition with modern business. Economically, the numbers are striking. The U.S. alligator industry generates over $100 million annually, with Louisiana alone producing more than 300,000 hides a year. A single high-grade hide can sell for $500 to $1,000, depending on size and quality. And that's before it becomes a Hermes bag that retails for 5 figures. Meat is a smaller but growing market, featured in gumbos, sausages, and upscale, nose-to-tail menus from New Orleans to New York. Some chefs even call it the ethical red meat, low-fat, high-protein, and fully traceable. But beyond dollars and dishes, there's something deeper. In a time when rural America is struggling, alligator farming offers a rare bridge between wild and domestic, heritage and innovation, conservation and commerce. It's one of the few industries where protecting nature is the business model. Still, as tastes change and younger generations question luxury consumption, can this tradition survive the next 50 years? The future of American crocodile and alligator farming hinges on a delicate balance between demand and ethics, tradition, and transformation. On one hand, global appetite for exotic leather is slowing. Major fashion houses like Gucci and Prada have moved away from exotic skins. Younger consumers are asking harder questions. Do we really need a $9,000 handbag made from a farmed predator? On the other hand, the industry is adapting. Some farms are pivoting to ecotourism, offering guided tours, educational programs, even adopt-a-gator experiences. Others are investing in carbon-neutral operations or partnering with universities on wetland restoration projects. And then there's the wild card, lab-grown leather. If scientists can replicate the unique scale pattern and durability of alligator skin without raising a single animal, will farming become obsolete? Maybe. But for now, this industry remains a rare example of wildlife conservation driven by market forces, not just morality. And that's worth thinking about, because in a world racing toward extinction, sometimes the most unlikely solutions come from working with human desire, not against it. From ancient swamps to designer ateliers, the story of the American alligator is far more complex than it first appears. It's a story of survival, not just for the species, but for the people and ecosystems that depend on it. If this opened your eyes, give this video a thumbs up. If you have thoughts, good, bad, or in between, drop them in the comments. We read every one. And if you're curious about the hidden systems behind the food, fashion, and industries shaping our world, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Because the truth is rarely simple, but it's always worth knowing.